Okay, so today we're going to be working on lesson 12 in our book. And so before we get started, I want you to pause right here, and you need page 91 from your, page 85 from your Learn book, which you will find this shape on it. And I want you to go ahead and cut it out like I have done here because we're going to be working with that. So you can pause here and go ahead and get that, and then you can restart the video. Okay, so now that we have our shape, it says cut along the dotted line. We've done that. And it talks about folding it in half. So the way the instructions in my book said to cut it out was like this here. So you can see that I have it folded in half, and you notice that it matches on one half matches the other half, and that is really what we're talking about today. We're talking about lines of symmetry. Now, if I were to fold it the other way, and here we go, like that. Well, it looks good this way, but it does not look good this way because this doesn't match. The two halves don't match. So that is not a line of symmetry. And so what we're talking about is lines of symmetry. And I have the vocabulary card here, and it says a line of symmetry is lines through a figure such that when the figure is folded along a line, two halves are created that match up. And they give an example here of a football, both vertically and horizontally. And so we could say that this figure here has a vertical line of symmetry, and I can go ahead and mark that. I'll find my ruler here and trace that with a ruler. But it does not have a horizontal, and I can try various other ways to fold it, and I can see that it's not going to work. That doesn't work, although I got this extra here, so that's not going to work. So it says observe the attributes of the figure and write a summary of your observations. So I want you to go ahead and do that right now. So again, you can go ahead and pause this video and take a minute to write down your observations. Okay, well, next we're going to take a look at a rectangle and a square. So I have just a simple post-it note here. It is a square, and I have this is a 4x6 index card here. And I've already started on the index card, and I started folding it this way, and as I fold it, you notice that what happens? They don't match. Although they are the exact same shape, they do not match up. So I have lines here, but no line, or well, this is the back side, so it doesn't have lines on it, but and if I flip it over, I have lines here as well. So they do not match up. So folding it diagonally, and if I tried it the other way, I would get the same results. Now I can go ahead and fold it this way. Get a nice crease on there. And yeah, they match. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that line of symmetry just by simply drawing a line down the middle. And I could also fold it this way. Better if I turn it. And you've got to take your time on this because you want these edges to line up exact. All right, so now I can see that the top half matches the bottom half. So I can go ahead and mark this line of symmetry as well. All right, so we have two lines of symmetry. And if I take the post-it note, we'll do the square next. I can see that, yeah, when we go from left to right, they match. So I can go ahead and mark that. If I go from top to bottom, they also match. So let's go ahead and mark that line of symmetry. Now what didn't work on the 4x6 card here was the diagonal. And if I tried the diagonal on the square, right away I do see a big difference in that they do match up. Both sides match. So I can go ahead and mark the diagonal. So I'm wondering if it works in one diagonal, if it'll work the other one diagonal. I tried it on this one, it didn't work. So let's try it on this one. And it looks like it will. So we have two lines of symmetry on the rectangle. And we have four lines of symmetry. I know it looks like a lot more, but remember that we're going from all the way through. So I could mark this one, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. And this one is just the same as 1. So we have 4 lines of symmetry on a square. And I want you to be thinking about, well, what is the difference between, why does this one have 4 and this one only have 2? And so we're going to take that thought to some other shapes that I have here. I have a parallelogram, and I also have a rhombus. So I'm going to start with a parallelogram here, and we're going to fold it from, let's fold it from left to right. Well, we'll match up the top and the bottom here. And hopefully you see that. It does not match exactly. Again, I get the same shape, but not matching. So that would not be considered a line of symmetry. If I did it from the top to bottom, again, you can see this does not match over here, and if I flip it over, I have the same issue on the other side. So that does not match. So far we're 0 for 2 on trying to find lines of symmetry in a parallelogram. I wonder if it would work diagonally. So go from vertex to the other vertex, to the opposite vertex. Uh-oh, I see a problem. Again, same shape, but they don't match up, so that's not going to work. And that was the long diagonal. I wonder if the short diagonal would work. So we'll try that. Should set that down so I can... Well, as best we can. But we can clearly see that this is not matching up either. Again, they are the same shape, but they don't match. And it's not about the same shape, it's whether they match or not. So this parallelogram has 0 lines of symmetry. We didn't find any. So let's try the rhombus here. And we'll try left to right here, or match up the bottom and top. And I see an issue there. Doesn't match up. That's a no-go. How about going top to bottom? And right away I can see I have some extra here. Same thing on the other side. So that's not going to work. So I'm 0 for 2 here. I wonder if the diagonals will. Now that looks like it works. I'm going to go ahead and mark that. Take my straight edge and just draw a line right there. Now I wonder if the other diagonal will. Looks like that one will. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that one. So we have 2 lines of symmetry here on the parallelogram, or I'm sorry, the rhombus. So we have rectangle, we had 2 lines of symmetry. The square, we had 4 lines of symmetry. Parallelogram, we had none. And on the rhombus, we have 2. And I have one other shape here that we're going to try. Move these out of my way. And how many of you can identify this shape? So I want you to be thinking about that. Well, hopefully you said, that's a trapezoid, Mr. Chaplin, and you're right. And so if I were to fold it, let's see, this way, hey, that looks like it matches. Front and back, yeah, they match. And that went right down the middle. So I can go ahead and mark that. All right, how about if I go from top to bottom? Oh, I can already see I have a problem here. The top half is smaller than the bottom half, so that is not a line of symmetry. And if I try to do diagonals, ooh, that does not look good. Let me put the blue behind it. You can see this shape does not match the shape that's behind it, so that's not going to work. And going the other diagonal would be the same thing. So this trapezoid only has 1 line of symmetry. So we've got some shapes and we've done that. So now we're going to go practice in your Learn book. So you're going to need page 90. Let's see here. I'm getting these page numbers wrong. It's page 91. And this is lesson 12. It's the second template. The first template was this big pentagon that we did. So on page 91, we are going to identify lines of symmetry here. So we have the letter A, a smiley face, a heart, the letter H, a star, a hand, butterfly, looks like a lobster, a curved arrow, and a car. And I'm thinking, let's start with the letter A. If I were to draw a line here, would the top match the bottom? I don't think so. I don't think diagonals would work, but I do think if I went right down the middle like this, that would work. And again, my drawing's a little off here, but the left would match the right if I were to fold that in half. If I did the smiley face, although the top half would meet the bottom half, but I would have an eye matching a smile, and that wouldn't work. But if I went right down the middle this way, I would have the eye, if I were to fold that, this eye would match up with the left eye, and this half of the smile would match up with this half, as well as the outside. So those match. The heart. I don't think the top half would match the bottom half. What do you think? I know you're probably already saying to yourself, yeah, there's going to go right down the middle. So let's go ahead and draw that line of symmetry right down the middle. The left would match the right. And oftentimes if I'm cutting out hearts, I would take a piece of paper and I'd fold it and I would cut only half a heart, and when I'm done, unfold it, I would have both halves. So that's a good test of can you, or does it have a line of symmetry, is when you fold it. Again, that's the test. How about the letter H? I think that if we did right there, looks like the left would match up with the right. But also, I want you to notice if I went right through the middle this way, the top half would match up with the bottom half. So this one actually has two. Let's see, so we've gotten this top row, we found at least one line of symmetry each. Is there any shapes here that do not have a line of symmetry? I can see one. I don't think the car has a line of symmetry. The top half certainly does not match the bottom half, and the back half does not match the front half. So I would say, nope, no lines of symmetry. I'm just going to mark it off. Another one I don't think would is this curved arrow. Taking a look at the star, this one's a little tricky because, again, I'm going to run a line right up and down the middle here. The left would match the right. But I want you to notice that not only that, if I did that on each of the points, they would all be lines of symmetry. So I'm going from the top of one point to the bottom of the other. And got one more to do here. So I have, well, it's a 5-pointed star. I have 5 lines of symmetry. So that one was pretty special in that it had more than 2, which we found in the H. So I'm going to leave the rest and let you think about those. And the last thing we want to do today is the bottom half, and that is we are only given half of the shape. And for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some counting here. I know that this is 1, 2, 3, 4 up, so if I make it exact, that means I would come down 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, and it would end right here. And that would be the same on this side. So if I came down 4, I could then go ahead and connect. And you notice I am using my straight edge. So that dotted line represents a line of symmetry. So if I were to fold it right here, the top would match the bottom. And then we have this one here. This almost looks like that half of the trapezoid. So I noticed that on the top, it is 2 spaces over from that line. So if I went 2 spaces over, and on the bottom it went 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces over. If I go 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces over, and connect that, and connect that. Now this angle, all I got to do is just connect the dots here. So now the left half matches the right half. So today you are going to go ahead and you're going to work on the rest of the lesson. So the problem set, let me zoom out here for a second. The problem set, you have to identify some lines of symmetry, and it talks about if you were to fold or well, if you were to find them, but thinking about in terms of if I could fold it in half, how many lines of symmetry? And it says you could write the number in the blanks, but I would also encourage you to actually draw them in as well. So go ahead and do that. The bottom half is identifying, is the dotted line a line of symmetry or not? So that's kind of a yes or no question. Then we have some more drawing. So you have to finish the drawings here. And then they have a good extension. How many lines of symmetry does a circle have? So I want you to think about that one. And then for your exit ticket, again, you're going to do this. You're going to submit this online. There's a link in the Canvas page. So it's really just these 3 questions. I don't believe there is this 4th one. So, or this is number 2 in the book. But you can go ahead and do this. It's great practice. So I would encourage you to do it in your book first, and then go online and answer the questions. So that is our lesson on symmetry. And again, I have the definition of symmetry: lines through a figure such that when the figure is folded along the line, 2 halves are created that match up. All right, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. And on Tuesday, we're going to do a Zoom lesson. So I would like you to find an object or something around the house that has at least 1 line of symmetry. And I want you to bring that to the Zoom lesson if you can. All right, have a great day.